And good morning, it's Lupe, Classic Hits, 92.7, 95.3. The 5th annual Rhubarb Festival is coming to Kendall Farm in Perry on Saturday, June 6th from noon to 6. Enjoy food, craft vendors, live music, family activities, and then the Rhubarb Garb Fashion Show. For more details or to volunteer, contact Georgie Kendall or visit kendallfarmcottages.com/Rhubarb Festival. Joining us in the Street Beat studio, Georgie Kendall and Joan
Canner.
Nice. She's in the can. What's
I hope not for most of the event. I'm just really struggling with my allergies this morning, and I am so glad for Allegra. This is not brought to you by Allegra, but Thank you for that.
So let's get right into this. What makes this year's Rhubarb Festival special as you celebrate the 5th anniversary?
Well, I started it 5 years ago with this idea that it would be just fun to bring rhubarb to the forefront. And since so many of us have this plant so prolific in our gardens, and often people don't know what to do with it, how to cook with it, or how to care for it, I thought it would be fun to have an educational event that really celebrated the plant and taught people, educated people about it in terms of how to cook it and how to care for it and that kind of a thing.
All right, so that's perfect for first-time attendees?
I would say so. Georgie's really building this concept on many other successful fruit and food-related festivals across the world. You have the Go Right Garlic Festival in California. There's also one in the Poconos. People love their strawberries. And one thing about this that I noticed was that this is really an unsung hero in the vegetable community, and that's rhubarb. And so I am from away, which I should probably disclose that earlier. I'm somewhat new to Maine. And seeing the...
How far away?
Originally from New Jersey. I lived in Maryland for 20 years. And here I am living in Hancock and happy to drive on this beautiful morning to Calais. And when I went to last year's event, I came in as someone doing the Secret Santa sound booth, collecting people's stories, because I really wanted to get a sense as to how nostalgia fits into this. And two things come up. One is the connection between food and memory is incredible. So thanks to Georgie's event, that brings up a lot of stuff for people. And it's not just about people's grandma's pie. It's about eating rhubarb stalks with salt, and we will definitely see some rhubarb eating, much to my chagrin. And I'll probably be emceeing that, but we're going to do that this year too. But you also had stories of people as a kid taking those massive leaves and using them as umbrellas. So when it comes to being a new person to the event, even if you don't already have a connection with rhubarb, you're going to make a memory that day.
Nice. And Georgie, what will they learn?
Well, there's a lot to learn about rhubarb, and we've set everything up at the festival so that it's a full day of education mixed with lots of fun and entertainment and food. So you can start with, there's demonstrations every hour on the hour that you can walk in and out of. They're 45 minutes long, and we're going to have a demonstration on how to take care of your plants. We're going to have one on canning and preserving rhubarb. There'll also be, that's with the University of Maine Cooperative Extension that are coming from Bangor, which is exciting. And then we also have our returnees who are fabulous, Roni Strout and Richard Fulgram. He's coming. And they are fabulous cooks. So they're going to do some fun cooking demonstrations with that.
Do they have surprises of what they cook?
I know one of them is going to be Richard's rhubarb crisp. So,
okay.
And they're going to share tastings with everybody about that. And then we also have Lorraine Gilmore Peters from over the border here in New Brunswick, and she's coming, and she's going to do a very lively etiquette kind of a demonstration around the dining room table, which is kind of exciting to add to your culinary experience.
Teach us how to
I think we're missing something. We're also going to be doing time travel. There's a time travel station, very low cost to you, free admission, tips if you want. We're going to bring back people from different parts of U.S. history. So last year, I believe there was a spotting of Eleanor Roosevelt, one of our most popular first ladies, and I think Frankie D is going to be in his house with his happy hour, what he was known for. Nothing wrong with tipping the elbow, and that's going to be something new this year down at one of the cottages. The event was they had their egg rolls last year, their egg right? They were walking down those egg challenges and stuff they had for children, for adults, walking around with an egg on a spoon. And it was so exciting that they're going to come through time to visit with us, Eleanor and Frankie D.
So that's right. So Roosevelt Campobello International Park is going to have a larger presence at the festival this year. They're going to have snippets of these presentations with Eleanor's tea and FDR cocktails, or FDR happy hour down by the cottage. So that's really exciting to add to the mix too.
How did you pronounce that? So it's just like a tomato. I said Roosevelt.
I say Roosevelt.
All right, and we're both going to have a great time at this festival. We are so inclusive. Just you watch.
I say Roosevelt, but I'm from down south.
Okay.
Oh, I thought I detected something. Awesome.
Not too much, but okay. So what about cash? Should we bring some cash?
Absolutely. You know,
Okay.
an event like this, there's musicians, so if you could drop them a tip, that would be great. There's going to be face painting and an art project, you know, and so everybody, it's nice to tip people for their volunteer services like that. And then also there's lots of little things to buy. You know, there's vendors, there's little food events, so there's lots of little shopping like that. We're also going to have raffled baskets, so you can buy a couple of raffle tickets, things like that. So cash is always great, I think, at an event like this. Probably there will be some vendors that will, you know, probably have a credit card machine or something like that. But cash is always great in an event like this, or even your checkbook.
And as someone who used to have a food business, I can tell you for moments like this, cash is really helpful to reduce the credit card fees for everyone. So if you don't mind doing that for some of the vendors who are trekking out all this way to serve you, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and the other thing is to come with, I mean, we'll have change there, but if you can come with smaller bills, it makes a big difference. You know, 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s. Don't come with a $50 bill or a $100 bill and, you know.
Take everybody's change.
So it gets complicated when people
I always
do
have
that.
a lot of singles. We can talk about that later. I don't know how I magically get them. It's kind of, that could be after hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it. So what if you don't like rhubarb? I know some people say like it's too much sugar, or they just don't like it.
Right. It's funny that Joan mentioned dipping it in salt. I haven't heard of that. Mm-hmm. Some people like it in salt.
It came up in my interview. And the thing
Really?
is, it reminds
Everybody
me.
dips it in sugar.
No, some people dip it in salt. And I am more of a savory girl myself.
Right.
So many people who say don't like a certain food, I bet you 50% of them have never eaten it.
Yeah.
So I say, you know
Or
what,
they've
honestly,
only had
go
it a
for it.
certain way, and there's like,
First, they only had it a certain way and it was not prepared well. It's like I know some people who dislike beets, and I'm like, well, try my roasted beets.
I think we can bring up Jeff Demmons here too, because he told me 5 years ago that he did not like rhubarb. So just throwing you under the bus there, Jeff.
No, you sound like an evangelist. I feel like we're converting people. We're bringing out the crusades, Lupe. I mean, I hope that's comfortable for you.
Rhubarb
Yeah. You will convert.
talk about the artwork. Posters feature student artwork. Why was it important to highlight young artists again this year?
Well, I have a big shout out to Bobby Tardif, the art teacher at the Calais Middle High School. She's been fantastic. And Sarah Myrick, who's been fantastic from Shed High School over the years. I mean, they have really stepped up to the plate. They've encouraged their students to make art depending on what the theme was and submitted that. And we've had, anywhere from 10 to 25 art submissions. And they've all been fantastic. And this year, just to be playful, we decided to do Rhubarb is Sexy. And so the submissions were hysterical. And the chosen submission was by the lovely Miss Exie May. She's an 11th grader here at Calais Middle High School. And it's just a very funny, lounging rhubarb stalk with high heels and, fishnet stockings. And it won hands down by the judges.
I have to take a sidebar on this and the importance of valuing your art. I have to say I'm a recent art school grad. Shout out to Salt Institute and also for Mecca down in Portland. When it comes to what art school used to look like when I was growing up versus now, there's a lot more emphasis on the value of what you produce. It's sure there is an importance for art's sake, but I think what Georgie is doing with this program is teaching folks from young that you should price your art a certain way. And it's not just about the exposure or how you feel while doing it, but there is a value to it.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, my mom loved art very much. And so I've learned to appreciate art.
This is what art does to people. This is the nostalgia piece I was talking to you about.
And so it's very moving to me to see kids get very involved in this. It's a T-shirt and it's a poster, but really it can be very meaningful. And I love celebrating their art through these posters and T-shirts.
Talk a little bit more about how the festival as a whole connects the generations. You guys talked a little bit about it earlier.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about that.
It's going to be very Gen X forward. I mean, between you, Lupe, me, and Georgie, it's like tough. If you're a zillennial, a millennial, or whatever, if you're raised generation, we welcome you. But it's going to be very much, I'll be playing Right Said Fred in between. Have you guys looked that up if you don't know it? The I'm Too Sexy song. That's going to be my loop. While I MC, I will be MCing, guys. Sorry, not sorry on that. It's amazing to see people, just as when I interviewed folks about their Rhubarb memories, you had folks who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s being transported as they spoke to me in the sauna, telling me stories about their childhood, about, again, like hiding under the rain with these massive leaves, talking about like throwing their spent water on the rhubarb patches by their house. And in those moments, I could see them as children because they were seeing themselves in their mind doing that. So the fact that, and again, like I was not really part of the event last year. I was just doing my interviews, but I walked around and all you could see was different ages of folks. Folks who already had existing rhubarb memories and folks who were just open to their first ones. And in this 5th year, I can see it's been a tradition for many people.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Joan. This all, started with this wonderful memory with my grandmother. Going to church suppers and baked bean suppers, and she was an incredible pie maker, and the rhubarb pie was like the least celebrated pie at the event. It was the only one that was never finished, and so to see it being celebrated in such a way, so diversely here, my grandmother would just be over the moon.
Because a lot of people thought they didn't like it.
Right, and there's so many people that come to this event who say, I hate rhubarb, and leave going, oh my gosh, I had no idea it could be that delicious in so many different ways. Here we are making cocktails and mocktails, savory dishes and sweets.
Then everything tastes better.
And then we're adding, making a mignonette for oysters on the half shell. I mean, who would have thunk of that? It's delicious.
Who would have thunk of doing? Okay, now I'm talking to the people at Disney. I know bird's good, so I'm thinking about Disney right now, potentially Pixar. I'm putting this out there in the universe. I'm going to wish it into we're going to do a little cartoon, start off the short, go to a big one about that rhubarb pie hanging on at that event, and no one wanted it. And now bring us to today. We're going to have people like Hankering Pie Co. coming out from Brunswick with their elite Frangipan strawberry rhubarb pie. It's moved up in the world. Don't count it out. I welcome you, Pixar. I can be the voice of anxiety if you do that cartoon.
So let's talk a little bit about the theme. It's sexy this year. What inspired that playful theme?
So when I was in my early 20s, I lived in Boston with my buddy Marcy.
Where are we going here?
Yeah.
After dark.
She's a baking and pastry graduate from Johnson and Wales. And there we were, our first jobs really out of college, trying to figure out what we were going to do next. And we were making homemade hand-dipped chocolates for presents for our family. And we're like, wow, talking about rhubarb, and how it wasn't ever really celebrated or embraced. And we're like, well, what if you paired rhubarb with sexy? Then maybe it would sell and we could have some saucy names for different sauces or something like that. And so we thought of that, and we were like in our early 20s, maybe 23 or 24. And so a couple of years ago, I did have some rhubarb is sexy hats made, and so this year, this is our 5th year, and I just decided, it's time to have that as a theme. It'll just be fun, crazy fun. Doesn't make any sense. Let's just do it.
Nice. So we're going to go right into the fashion show. talk about the garb that people need to bring and wear, and you have some today. Is this considered garb also, or that's
So
just a
I'm going to
shirt?
be, so I'm doing, I did not want to reveal what the shirt will be for both volunteers and also for the general public coming to the event. For folks who are doing this based on radio, I just have a periodic table of elements, right? And I have like rhubarb spelled out in that way. If it gets a little sexy and saucy, I will be showing my ankles to people for $1. You got that right, Zebediah. I will give you what your wife cannot, and that's a little bit of bare ankle.
Fashion show?
The
Is that what
fashion
we're
show,
talking about?
right? So Amy Ray is spearheading this, and she has a fabulous shop in Eastport called the Bingville Style Shop, right downtown Eastport. And so there's a great display in her front window there, and you can go there and glam up your outfit or see what she has for pieces down there. And then at the actual event, we're going to have our Rhubarb Garb table where you can work with Amy and kind of embellish your outfits. So we're suggesting maybe people wear their favorite green and pink combinations or something like that. I'm going to be wearing neon green pants and a neon pink Rhubarb Festival vest. So that's my base combination for my outfit. But so part of that is just to kind of celebrate fashion, another art form, and Amy's fabulous at that. And so we're going to have like a table there where you can like mix and match and decorate your outfits.
Well, what are
even
the
more.
judges looking for?
A bribe, I would
bribe?
say.
Amy came up with 3 different
Criteria.
Who are the
categories. and
judges?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Amy came up with 3 different categories, and I can't remember what they are, unfortunately, at the
Okay.
top of my head right now.
The fact that like anybody can be part of a runway.
Yes.
I think this event is really
That's
beautiful to
important.
me.
Right.
And I think as I have gotten older, talking about generations, like now that I'm Gen X, it's interesting what I find to be sexy. I think showing up is very sexy.
On time.
On time. Being yourself is sexy. Supporting people is sexy. And I think laughing at yourself is probably one of the sexiest things anybody could do.
Yeah, it's important to remember that it's for everybody. So guys, gals,
Whatever.
kids, whoever wants to be in this fashion show, they're more than welcome. It'll
And
be
strike
fun.
those poses. I mean, you can't let the people at the Met Gala have all the fun. You know what I mean? Sorry, Heidi Klum. It's on.
Nice. Talk a little bit about the schedule. What else is happening?
A little more about the schedule.
I feel like, Georgie, most circuses have 1, 2, 3 rings. And this circus has more rings than I'm more than the Olympics. You have so many other activities going on, everything going on at once. If you can't find something, move on to the next section. You have vendors, you have food for sale separately that you produce, like the tasting table. You have stuff going on in different spaces. We talked about what's going on in one of the cottages with the Roosevelts. Gonna say it again, Roosevelts.
Or Roosevelt.
Or Roosevelt. It depends. We welcome all kinds. You have demonstrations going on. Learn something new. Or re-up something you've done. So there's so many other rings to this circus. Sorry to call it a circus, but also not sorry. I mean, you have sparkles in your hair. It's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Thanks, Joan. We have
I'll be
so
your
much
clown.
going on. There's like the lawns will all have vendors, food and craft vendors. And then we have an sort of a self-directed obstacle course for kids. We're going to have on the front deck of the farmhouse, we're going to have the Rhubarb Garb set up there. We're going to have some printmaking with Sarah Duff, who's a fabulous young artist in Eastport. And then we're also going to have a face painting as well with Marissa Stokes from here in Calais. She's quite an artist herself. So, that's fun. Everybody's welcome to do that. It's free and open to all ages. So there's that. Music all day. A very entertaining MC, of course. The tasting table, rhubarbutery boards, and
One thing that struck
the
me
tasting table is a big deal.
last year, Georgie, it was that you have all this stuff set up and there's a lot of intention that you and your volunteers have structured into this event. However, I was so surprised last year at how organic some things were. And one thing that was so organic to me was that the people you had vending, people having demos, the nonprofits you had there reflected the crowd. And that really made the event itself, was also like who showed up.
Nice.
So talk about there's other thing that we can do there, the tasting table.
Oh, the tasting table. So right now we're great on volunteers.
Okay.
I think we probably have about 40 volunteers, 40 to 50 volunteers, frankly. And that's all from like people helping
are they
ahead of
each
time.
individually making stuff, or they're making a couple things?
So I meant we have volunteers for the day of the event.
Okay.
To like, we have to have us like at least 5 people to help with parking, like sort of, coming in, welcoming, and then on the tables to help out with things in the back, in the kitchen, getting the food and stuff ready. So there's a lot of that. There's set up and tear down and clean up. And then there's a lot of background help to get all this organized. What we do need help with is volunteers. Anyone who might be interested in donating something for the tasting table, because what's fun about the tasting table is the variety of tastes that we get there that are sweet and savory. I'm happy to provide the rhubarb, and so if anybody would be interested in being a cook, to help us out, that would be really appreciated. That's what we always need help with, is the pre-cooking. But we're waiting for that rhubarb to grow because it's a little bit behind schedule right now.
Gosh,
yeah.
It needs to be more timely. Georgie, so you've had different, I tasted some of the foods last year, including an incredible rhubarb kimchi that surprised my very refined palate. When people decide to volunteer for the tasting table, how many, are they cooking for 2 people? So how many people should they factor in that they're cooking for, roughly?
That is a good question. There's no real answer to that. I mean, the more you make, the more that we can have to divvy up. I mean, we expect over 400 attendees this year. I think if we get great weather, we could potentially get up to 600 people. So, how many people do you cook for? Do you make a little tiny pan, or do you make a couple of pans? It's sort of whatever anybody's willing to do, frankly. And then that gets shared amongst the people that attend. You get to try a little of this or a little of that.
So talk a little bit about what we should bring that day.
So what's really helpful to bring for the day is to dress for it. Is it going to be a warm day or a rainy day? No matter what the weather, if it sleets, if it rains, if it's fog, or if it's a sunshiny day with a nice breeze, we're going to have the festival. So it doesn't get canceled or postponed. So wear some comfortable shoes. You're going to be outside walking on uneven ground. Maybe bring a chair to sit in if you want to watch the music. We will have chairs there too, but if you wanted to bring your own chair, that's fine. A water bottle, a bag to carry some goodies in, some cash in your pocket. Bring some bug repellent or some sunscreen. We will have some bug repellent available there too, but if you can bring some of your own, that'd be great. So just be prepared for the weather for the day. And most people like to come for the day because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of different things happening throughout the whole day. Different musicians, different demonstrations.
All right. And so give us all the information we need to know to be there and that kind of thing. Where do we get more information in case they miss some of this?
So the event is the first Saturday of June. It's Saturday, June the 6th from 12 to 6. In 2026. And it will be at 20 Kendall Lane in Perry, Maine, off the Golding Road, not too far from the Strawberry Patch. There will be bright pink signs, or not bright pink, but signage down by the roadside to give you the right direction. And there'll be parking attendants to help you get there. Or you can visit our website at kendallfarmcottages.com/Rhubarb Festival. And there's a full schedule there, which is, updated as things change.
All right. And Joan?
Yes, I'm here with you, Lupe. I'm here for you.
Tell us why people should show up and be there.
It's interesting to me that when people attend Rhubarb Fest, that they become part of the festival itself and the vibe that happens. And it's amazing to me what last year felt like in the rain. So while we all hope that things it was still, people's attitude was incredible. When people are there, they are practicing being present. And there could be nothing more beautiful than that, and that we can give each other. And, it's also safety first there, whether it's the volunteers you have doing parking. You can't forget that's please, no dogs, no smoking, no vaping. I especially appreciate that as a person with all the allergies and wanting to have more safety. I think when it comes to, let's just say it, it's a little bit difficult to travel nowadays. It's a little bit far sometimes to get to places like Perry, which is why it's so important that from the second you get in to the moment that you leave, you will be entertained, you will learn something new, and you will be offering back something to this magical place known as Kendall Farm.
Good. Sounds good.
And I'll show you my ankles for $1 or more.
Thanks so much,
I got
Lupe.
25 cents.
He's going to make it hail.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Lupe. You're listening to Classic Hits 92.7, 95.3. Thanks for listening.